All right, let's get into a story that's going to test the limits of what you think is possible. We're talking about a chance meeting, an event that changes a life forever, and a mystery that, well, it pretty much breaks time itself. So picture this. You are completely down on your luck, you're scraping by, and some random person just predicts you're about to come into a fortune. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? A life-changing prophecy just handed to you in a grocery store parking lot. And just when you think you've got a handle on the story, bam, here's the twist. The actual proof, the undeniable security footage, says that conversation, it never happened. So, who in the world was he talking to? Now, to really understand how massive this prophecy was, we have to look at the life he was living at the time. And to put it bluntly, he was desperate. You see this number? This wasn't just some number in a bank account. This was his entire world. $47.18. That's all that was standing between him and having absolutely nothing. He said he checked it 3 times that day, just a constant, brutal reminder of how close he was to the edge. And that's when it happens. Outside a grocery store, this older guy, maybe mid-60s, wearing a plain gray jacket, he just walks up. He doesn't look like a psychic, he doesn't look crazy, he just looks normal. But the message he delivers is anything but. He just looks at him and says, "Don't worry, Friday changes everything." Okay, this is the part where the story goes from just being strange to flat out impossible. The stranger tells him to play the lottery numbers from a dream he had the night before. A dream so real that he literally woke up at 3:12 in the morning to scribble the numbers down. A dream he had told absolutely no one about. How could this guy possibly know that? So the prophecy is out there. But, a prophecy is just words, unless someone actually decides to take a leap of faith, even a tiny one. So Friday comes around. After he pays his bills, he's got $10 left. That's it, $10. And you can just imagine the battle going on in his head, right? The logical side is screaming, "This is insane, don't waste your money." But then there's that tiny little voice in the back of his mind just whispering, "But what if he was right?" Well, in the end, that little what if wins. He buys 1 ticket. He doesn't even check the numbers right away. He just kind of goes about his Saturday morning routine, almost like he's afraid to find out. Finally, he's got his coffee, takes a deep breath, and opens the lottery app on his phone. And this is the exact moment his entire world flips upside down. The first number, it matches. He's probably thinking, okay, that's a weird coincidence. The second one matches. Now he's getting chills. The third, his heart starts pounding. By the 4th number, he's on his feet. And by the 5th, his hands are shaking so bad he can barely hold his phone. 5 for 5. And then he sees it. The 6th and final number, 41. It's a match. Every single number from his private dream, the numbers the stranger somehow knew, they all just hit. And the jackpot? $38.4 million. I mean, that's a number so huge, it doesn't even feel real. His brain didn't even celebrate at first. It just short-circuited. Because when something truly impossible happens right in front of you, your mind kind of needs a second to reboot. So he's won. Story over, right? Nope. This is where the story shifts from a feel-good lottery win into a really deep and unsettling mystery. The joy vanishes almost immediately, replaced by one question just burning in his mind. Who was that man? Think about this. His first move isn't to call his family. It isn't to quit his job. It's to get in his car and drive straight back to that grocery store. He has to find this guy. He has to thank him. He has to get some answers. But he's gone, vanished. And here we are at the heart of the paradox. In his memory, it is crystal clear. The conversation, the man, the gray jacket, it all happened. But the security camera footage, it just shows him standing by himself in the parking lot, talking to thin air. So what's real? The memory that feels 100% true, or the cold, hard video evidence that says it was a hallucination? That night, he obviously can't sleep. He's just replaying that conversation over and over again in his head. And then, something clicks. This weird sense of recognition. The stranger's voice? It wasn't just a voice. It was familiar, deeper, maybe a little more gravelly, but it felt fundamentally like his own voice. Now, that bizarre realization that the voice sounded like his own, that's the key. That's the clue that unlocks this whole thing. and it transforms this personal mystery into a mind-bending paradox straight out of science fiction. About a month after he won, he starts having this new dream, over and over. He's back in that parking lot again, but this time, he's the one wearing the gray jacket. He sees that he's older, and he's standing there looking at his younger, broke, desperate self. And then he hears the words come out of his own older mouth. Friday changes everything. He finally understands. He's stuck inside what physicists call a causal loop, or sometimes a bootstrap paradox. It's the ultimate chicken and egg problem. It's a chain of events that has no beginning, because it just causes itself. The information, in this case, the winning numbers, it didn't come from anywhere. It just exists, forever, inside this loop. Let's just walk through it, because it's wild. 1, a stranger gives him the winning numbers. 2, that allows him to win the lottery, get rich, and eventually grow old. 3, as an old man, he becomes that stranger. 4, he then has to go back in time to give the numbers to his younger self, which allows him to win in the first place. You see? The effect is the cause. It's a perfect closed circle with no start and no finish. So the story doesn't really end with an answer. It ends with an acceptance. He gets it. He understands his part to play. He's not just the guy who got lucky. He is an essential piece of the puzzle that creates his own luck. His future is now about making sure his own past happens exactly the way it's supposed to. And that kind of leaves us with one last fascinating question to chew on. If you could go back, if you could be the stranger for your younger self, what would you say? Knowing everything you know now, what's the one thing you would tell them? Would you give them the winning lottery numbers, or would you tell them something else entirely? It's a wild thing to think about, right? Our own little potential loops.